The cryptocurrency market has seen a large amount of volatility within the last 72 hours, leaving many participants unsure and shaken. In today's video, we're going to be going over 3 separate charts that you need to understand to be able to prepare and plan for what happens next. Let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at 3 separate charts. The short-term price action in massive detail, going over exactly what is happening, exactly what happened, and exactly what you should be expecting for the next move. We're going over the key structural levels and the key technical levels. We'll also be jumping into our next charts, the total cryptocurrency market cap and the total altcoin market cap, as there is a particular pattern playing out that I want to be discussing in today's video. So before we do get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical and the structural information, no hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. That is the kind of content you are interested in. Join us on Telegram. It is the 3rd link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and so much more. If you're interested in taking your trading to the next level, join us on VIP. We post trading setups with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, and exclusive analysis. You'll also get access to our group chats, our general chat, our trading chart and education chat, our news, our help, our daily video, and our community trade setup chat. If you're interested in getting access to all of that, contact me in the pinned comment of the free channel over here, or click these links for more information. Without further ado, let's dive into the video. So starting on the short-term price action, a quick little summary before we come back to it later on. Bitcoin has seen quite a considerable bounce from that major $60,000 support region. In fact, we've bounced from around 60,000 to 65,600, so around 9.5 to 10% rally already from those 60k lows from yesterday. And overall, this week has been quite a volatile one. We had again the developing conflicts with Iran and Israel causing mass amount of fear in the market. When we have this mass amount of fear and uncertainty in the market, we do generally see risk assets drop toward the downside. However, when we do see these corrections, the most important thing is that our key levels of structural support remain intact. In this instance, the correction failed to break below 60,000, resulting in again that major high time frame level remaining as support, and we have seen a bounce from that level. In today's video, we'll jump into exactly what is happening and what to expect next. So with the major amount of volatility in the last 24 hours, of course, liquidations overall have been relatively high. And moving into now the halving event in 4 days, we shall expect a decent amount of volatility to continue. So taking a look at the market data, 24-hour liquidations are down a whole whopping 71%, but still sitting at 269 million. It just shows how volatile we saw the market in the last 48-hour period. So of the 269 million in liquidations, 137 million have come from long positions, and 132 million have come from short positions, meaning again, there is still a decent amount of chop both ways. On the short term, people are still massively over leveraged, probably trying to accumulate or reaccumulate a large amount of losses, taking considerable leverage positions, and again, getting chopped out. Looking at 24-hour volume, down 24%, sitting at 226 billion. Taking a brief look at the broader markets, the DXY has opened up red again, retesting that neckline of resistance at around 106. Again, this is going to be our upper level of resistance from our neckline at 105 to 106 resistance range. So again, this is going to be an ideal short-term point of reversal for the DXY. If we do retrace all the way back down and retest this trend line, we are expecting a breakdown of that trend line to retest these yearly low points. Again, if we do continue through this level, our next point of resistance is sitting all the way up around 107 to 107.4. At the moment, I am expecting a short-term correction. Moving over to the broader markets, the S&P 500 mini future over here has opened up green. We can see a small little bounce on the short term. Again, like we have been saying for months now, every short-term correction, whether it be a larger candle a smaller candle, whatever, any short-term correction that does develop that remains the price above 5,000 should be considered a healthy short-term correction in the macro uptrend. So again, we are not concerned about this correction. In fact, it is a healthy correction to see these pullbacks. And again, even if we see a correction lower to 5,100 or even 5,000, we are expecting a continuation up on the macro scale. It is only if we lose that 5,000 mark are we expecting a higher time frame correction to retest that 2021 all-time high zone. Exactly the same applies for the Dow Jones over here, retesting near that $38,000 support. Again, any retracement that remains above this 37,700 to 38,000 level will remain a healthy high time frame correction in the macro trend, and we are expecting continuations up on the higher time frame. It's only if we lose this level do we then expect a higher time frame correction to the 50 MA or to that 2021 all-time high. It's going to be very interesting to see how the markets actually do react this week, again with potentially developing escalations with the Iran and again Israel situation, but optimism is good. We are in an uptrend, we are above support, so we do have to remain with the facts and data, not with speculation. Let's go ahead, guys, and jump over to Bitcoin. So like we said, we have a lot to discuss, taking a look at the short term, taking a look at the total altcoin market cap, as altcoins copped an absolute beating, but we're going to be taking a look at a pattern that suggests this beating is just the start of a macro continuation upwards, and we're going to be taking a look at the total cryptocurrency market cap. So let's go ahead, guys, and jump into it. I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss the two exchanges we use on this channel, Bitget and BingX. So which exchange should you sign up to? If you look to the right hand side of the screen, you're going to see the list of differences in relation to KYC requirements and the countries these exchanges offer services to. The first link down below being the Bitget link, and the second link down below being the BingX link. No matter which link you sign up to, you're going to get up to 15% discounts on your trading fees, up to $5,000 in trading rewards, and of course, you'll get access to every single MegaWhale exclusive bonus campaign we run on these exchanges. Alongside that, Bitget and BingX are incredibly similar. They are both ranked top 10 in terms of trading volume. They both have extensive liquidity pools and market pairs offering up to 125x leverage. And most importantly, they both offer protection funds for their users to protect you against any third-party hacks. So get started now and support the channel by clicking the links below. Thanks for listening. Okay guys, let's go ahead and jump over to Bitcoin. So taking a look at Bitcoin's price action, we can see a very clear and definable range. And this range is going to be the price distance between our 60,000 low and our 73 to 74,000 high. We can see I've gone ahead and annotated a key levels. This is going to be our sell side liquidity. Again, a loss of our sell side liquidity will be the confirmation for a continuation lower. We do have our deviation range high, which is going to be the unsustained price continuation above our future developed range high, which is going to be marked as our deviation. We have our macro continuation above our trigger point, which is again going to be that 73.9K region, the highest point of the deviation. And we have got our range low deviation range between 60 to 59,000, which is the distance between our $60,000 support and our sell side liquidity. This is the key price range Bitcoin has been moving in. And this range over here is of course a horizontal consolidation, and it's a horizontal consolidation that has been developing and continuing since the start of March. So it's looking now again around about a month and a half, around about 6 weeks. And this range again is going to be determining where the price action goes on the macro. A break downwards from this range will confirm a macro continuation toward the downside, potentially as low as 52,000, and a macro continuation upwards, a break above this range, will send Bitcoin in that next leg of the cycle into the parabolic phase of the bull run. So this particular range we are watching develop and watching continue over the last few weeks is going to be the key determining factor in regards to where the price action goes for the next few weeks, potentially even month or so, depending on the directional break that actually develops from this range. So with that being said, a price range is simply again a range of price action between a key level of structural resistance and a key level of structural support. That does mean that any price action between these two key levels, our support and resistance, should be considered healthy fluctuations in price action. These price movements on the short term may hold significance, but on the higher time frame, they do not hold significance. The only significant thing that will develop from this range is going to be a breakdown or a break toward the upside. So now we need to be discussing potential price movements on the short term. So currently, we can see that Bitcoin has been in a downtrend. The downtrend is going to be represented by this downtrending diagonal trend line, and we can confirm that downtrend by our RSI downtrend. We can see the RSI peaks line up with the price action peaks, which are represented by these peaks on price action. We do see that the RSI is suggesting momentum has been falling, while the price action is in an increasing downtrend of volatility. So we're seeing volatility increase as the price action is moving further and further away from that 50 EMA. So we can see that the momentum has been falling. For the price action to continue upwards here, and by continue upwards, we are looking for a retest of this downtrend. We do need to see the RSI break through that downtrending diagonal trend line. If we break through that downtrending diagonal trend line, it is very likely the price action will continue upwards to retest that downtrend. And of course, if we do retest the downtrend, our third point of retest is generally the point at which we break out from. We are likely to see a continuation through. So if we are looking for a continuation back to our range high, to our deviation high, potentially a break out of its range, we need to see two things. We need to see, number one, the RSI breakout, and number two, the price breakout of the downtrend. So what does that mean? Until this occurs, until we break above the downtrend of the RSI, until we break above the downtrend of the downtrending trend line of resistance in regards to price action, the range low deviation is a possibility. That means there is a chance Bitcoin could see one more short-term correction toward the downside. When we do see deviation on the top side of a parallel channel, we generally do see equal and opposite deviation on the bottom side of the channel. So I would not be too surprised to see one more leg down to retest this deviation zone, potentially wick below it, only to then continue back upwards and through. That is a real possibility. This is a real possibility until Bitcoin validates those two breakout points. So we see the RSI break through, and thus we see the price action retest and break through. This downward short-term correction to retest that deviation zone will then no longer be a possibility. Until then, this is a real possibility. So let's go ahead now and take a look at a slightly higher time frame. This is going to be our daily time frame. We can also see on the daily chart, we do have our downtrend on our RSI over here. This is going to be the higher time frame representation of momentum within the price range since we broke into that 60K region. So if we go ahead and zoom in a little bit, we can see a little bit better. This trend line again represents 3 points of retest. We have got our first retest here. We've got our second retest here. This is equal to the bearish divergence developing. And then we have our third retest, which is going to be the failure to break above the range high, not the deviation, the failure. So we have 3 points of confirmation along the RSI trend line, our momentum equating to 3 points of significance in terms of price action peaks. So we have a valid downtrend on the RSI. Provided we remain above, or should I say below, this downtrend, the deviation low is a applicable target. If we break above this downtrend, that is again when we're expecting a continuation through that range high and a continuation to new highs for Bitcoin. This representation over here is a representation of the momentum since the break into 60,000, and thus we are watching for a break for an indication of a continuation through that range. So on the short term, guys, yes, we have seen a fantastic bounce for Bitcoin, but it is too early to say if this bounce will be the bounce that results in this downtrend to break, as we do not have the technical validations we are looking for to confirm that. So it is a fantastic short-term bounce. And again, we are expecting Bitcoin to continue upwards. It is unlikely, and I do not expect Bitcoin to drop to 52,000. I do not expect anything to be sustained below 60,000 while this range remains intact. Remember, we have been bullish this entire time. I am still expecting a continuation upwards, provided 60,000 is able to hold as support. But on the short term, we do not have the confirmation yet to validate that we'll be continuing upwards as of right now. Now, that can develop over the next few hours. We are definitely watching out for developments in that price action. If we do look at the shorter time frame price action over here, again, we do have a potential downtrending trend line representing over here, which would indicate a short-term breakout. But again, we do need to see that slightly higher time frame momentum shift positive to actually validate any sort of continuation upwards. So we're watching out in the next 24 hours, particularly moving into the halving event, how the price action will respond. If we do zoom out and give you a general statement, the price action is bullish. We are above 60,000 and thus we remain above 60,000. We are bullish. There is a risk of a slight correction into this deviation low. If we do get that deviation low, we are expecting that to hold as an area of support before a continuation upwards. If we want to see a short-term leg up, we do need to break above that RSI downtrend. A break above the RSI downtrend will result in a continuation to retest our downtrending resistance, and if we do retest this with the break on the RSI, it is very likely we continue to the range high. Then zooming out, provided those three things occur, moving towards the range high, it is incredibly likely that downtrend on the daily chart on RSI will have flipped positive and price action will be continuing upwards in that next leg up. So all is well until 60k breaks. Let's go ahead and move over to our higher time frame charts. So two charts I want to take a look at. The total cryptocurrency market cap is still looking bullish, and I've said this for a very long time. For one of the main bearish validations will be if the total cryptocurrency market cap drops back below our dead cat bounce high. This neckline of support has now been retested. This is a good thing. This is a support resistance flip. If we fail to remain above this level, that would be catastrophic for Bitcoin, and that could result in the breakdown of the $60,000 region, a potential correction for the total market cap and altcoins further as Bitcoin drops lower. However, while this area remains a support, this is a good indication the market as a whole is at support and preparing for that next move toward the upside. Overall, the total cryptocurrency market cap, as a whole is still bullish and has just seen a healthy correction into an area of support to retest. If we move over to the altcoin market cap, again, the altcoin market cap took a massive beating, but it is not the first time we have seen a beating for the altcoin market cap in the phase we are in. So this is going to be our altcoin cycle. I've gone ahead and labeled out some interesting points. We have got our 6 points of the altcoin cycle. Point number one is going to be the dead cat bounce high after the all-time high for the market. So the all-time high, which is point number 6, we have that correction, and that first macro dead cat bounce high is going to be point number 1. Point number 1 formulates a yearly neckline of resistance, which is actually ending up going to be a trigger point for a parabolic rally for altcoins. You can see this horizontal line. Point number 2 is going to be the yearly low neckline of resistance. This is going to be the bear market resistance for altcoins, meaning anything above this trend line is going to be bear market low consolidation, accumulation, okay? Anything above this trend line, we go into a bull market. So that is point number 2. Point number 3 is going to be the consolidation. Okay, the small sideways consolidation above point number 2. We can see we had that small sideways consolidation in both scenarios above point number 2. And point 4 is going to be the bull market, the initiation of the bull market for the altcoin market cap. And we are seeing the same thing play out. That is exactly where we are now. We are in point number 4. Historically, point number 4 occurs as Bitcoin is retesting the all-time high from the prior cycle. I'll say it again. Point number 4 occurs as Bitcoin is retesting the prior all-time high of the prior cycle. We are seeing that play out again. Now, during point number 4, we see not only the build-up into the parabolic phase, as the parabolic phase occurs when we break through point number 1. We can see point number 5 is the parabolic phase, but during phase number 4, we have seen historical corrections for altcoins up to around 30%. If we take a look at our prior phase 4, we saw a correction for altcoins of 30% in a few days. This was over a course of about 3 days on the charts. It looks a bit different over here, but in about a 3-day period, we saw around a 30% correction for altcoins. If we look at our current phase, we have now seen a correction of 29.41%. So during this phase, we have both seen large corrections. During this phase, we are in a similar structure to what we have seen in the past, which is again, above point number 2, below point number 1, after point 3 consolidation, and midway between, okay, point number 2 and point number 1, as Bitcoin is retesting the prior all-time high from the prior cycle. So the whole pattern is playing out exactly like we have seen in the past. Now, for altcoins to go parabolic, they need to break above point number 1. If we see a break above point number 1, that will send altcoins parabolic into our parabolic phase, eventually to create a top. Now, of course, this is a theory as of right now. It is not confirmed. We do need to break above point number 1 to enter that phase. So that opens us up to limitations. What would need to occur for this to be invalid? Well, for this to be invalidated, the altcoin market cap will need to drop below point number 2. If the altcoin market cap drops under point number 2, that would invalidate this pattern. And again, then we're basically wrecked for altcoins. So thank you for watching, guys. Have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you guys in the next one on Wednesday, as I won't be around tomorrow to do a video. As of right now, if that changes, I'll let you know. Thanks, and I'll see you then. Bye.